On this week's story behind the fight, we have the much anticipated return of Anthony Rumble Johnson. Now, this is in the first round of Bellator's light heavyweight Grand Prix tournament. And Rumble made his comeback after a 4-year layoff, retiring at what some might say was the peak of his career. And he was supposed to be fighting Yoel Romero in a much, much anticipated fight, but the fight gods weren't ready for this to happen, I guess, and Yoel had to pull out with I think, an issue with his eye during his medical exams. So he wasn't cleared to fight, and I'm sure Bellator searched high and low for a worthy opponent for Rumble, and they came up with Jose Augusto. Now, this kid was only 7-2 going into this fight, and I'm sure it was the heavy underdog, but he stepped up to the plate and he actually ended up dropping Rumble in the first round, almost finishing him. I think he came as close as he could have come to being finished, and the ref did a great job, I think, and let them fight, and he survived the round. What makes this even more interesting is that it looked like Augusto was actually hurt or broke his right hand, so he had his back up against the wall with a monster like Rumble in the cage. I'm sure that was a very scary place to be for him, and caught Rumble with a left hook and dropped him, and it was actually a really exciting fight. I always like to say a hurt animal is a dangerous animal, and Augusto proved that to be true. Now, coming into the second round, Rumble did what Rumble does and just flatlines Augusto with a nice right hand and ends the fight in true Rumble style. Now, I watched his post fight interview and he seemed incredibly disappointed in his performance. Now, I think the big story of this fight is ring rust a real thing? Well, Rumble denied it and said it wasn't a factor in his performance, and only time will tell really if his time off has put him behind in the division. But he said that wasn't a factor. He just was really unhappy with his performance, and I think the main takeaway from this fight is expectations. What were everyone's expectations? I could tell by the tone of his interview that he felt the weight of the expectations on him and his comeback, and whether it's other people or himself, that remains to be seen. But did he fulfill his high expectations of himself according to his interview? No, he didn't, and only time will tell in his next couple fights if he will live up to those expectations. So we'll see.